If you work as a traditional quote-unquote stable 9 to 5 hired employee, it might seem that tracking your working hours is really easy. However, those 8 hours a day and 40 hours a week are just a convention that evolved from a century-old factory model. For an employer, it's much easier to count hours instead of trying to measure really meaningful stuff like efficiency and productivity. That's why people are chained to their desks and essentially forced to spend 8 hours a day in the office, even if the actual time they need to complete their tasks is much shorter. They simply don't have an option to leave before the established time. I've been there. I worked as a hired employee for 8 years, and let me tell you that virtually every person in my office could have finished their work in less than 8 hours. Sometimes way less. There were days when I wrapped up my tasks in just 3 or even 2 hours, then spent the rest of the day idling, browsing internet, or daydreaming. Was I effective? 100%. I got my work done and did it well. My manager was always happy with the quality of my work. Was I efficient though? Absolutely not. After I quit my job and finally pursued my dream of becoming an indie game developer, I no longer need to clock in and out. Now I can be not only effective, but truly efficient. I work when I feel like it without being obliged to just sit in front of a computer if I've already finished the tasks for the day, or just feeling tired, or simply lacking inspiration. Because game development is a highly creative process and sometimes you just need that spark of inspiration. However, until last year, I never thought to check how many hours I actually work if I have complete freedom. Hey there! My name is Yaroslav, I'm a solo game developer from Ukraine, and today I want to talk about my work schedule. What do I do when nobody is telling me what to do, and more importantly, how many hours I actually work. Even though I left my regular office job more than 10 years ago, it wasn't until last year that I thought about tracking my work hours. I simply didn't care. I used to just work whenever I felt like it, focusing more on making progress on my games than counting hours. Sometimes I'd take a day or two off, and other times I'd spend like a whole weekend coding or drawing from a game. However, last March, precisely a year ago, I decided to start logging my work hours in Excel file just to see how much time I was really putting in. Why did I do it? Well, mostly out of curiosity. I wanted to see if there were any patterns in my working habits. Plus, it seemed like a good idea to have the data for the future reference, whether it's for tracking game development or scripting YouTube videos just like this one. I did it because I could and because I wanted to. So, here what I have after a year of tracking my work hours. I've color-coded my days. Green for weekdays I worked, red for weekdays I didn't work, purple for weekends I worked, and blue for weekends I didn't work. So, throughout the year, there were 262 weekdays and 104 weekends. I only missed 20 weekdays for various reasons. That means I worked on either game development or creating videos for this YouTube channel for 242 weekdays. However, when it comes to weekends, I actually rested only 49 out of 104 days. That's right, for 55 weekends I was working. So, more than half my weekends I was grinding away. One of the main reasons I worked so much and didn't even take a vacation was because of this YouTube channel. I might do a separate video about this when the channel hits its 1-year mark. But to sum it up, when I started this channel, I thought it would take way less time than it actually did. I made a promise to myself to make at least one video a week for at least a year. I naively believed that it would only take 2 to 3 hours on average. Boy, was I wrong. Turns out, each video took me 20 hours on average. I usually start working on it on Thursday and often found myself still working on Friday, Saturday, and most times Sunday. It's been 11 months since I started this channel and I feel completely exhausted. You can almost tell it looking at my face. I definitely need a break from YouTube, and I can't wait until I finally get to take it after hitting the 1 year mark or just 4 more videos. Now, let me explain how I log hours into this sheet. First off, I only counted very purposeful and focused work, typically done in front of my computer. I didn't count all the time spent thinking up solution when I wasn't actively working. For instance, I often came up with different thoughts on work tasks during my runs. I didn't log that. Also, I didn't quantify time spent learning different game development stuff or watching YouTube courses or tutorials. Additionally, all the time logged into my Excel sheet is rounded down to the nearest integer. For example, if I worked 1 hour and 50 minutes, I just log 1 hour. If I just worked 50 minutes, I don't log anything. Now, let's get to the most interesting part. How many hours do I actually work? During the year, I logged a total of 1217 working hours, meaning that on average, I worked a little bit more than 4 hours on a typical working day, and my actual work week counted on average 24 hours. However, I must say that these 24 hours feel much more intense and productive than a conventional 40-hour work week in an office job. During April of 2023, I was mainly occupied with marketing my incremental game Orcs, which was published in March. I spent nearly 80 hours on marketing activities, such as creating a website, optimizing the game page on the Google Play and Apple's App Store, and posting about the game on different platforms and subreddits. Unfortunately, a few months later, Orcs was suspended on both Google Play and App Store. After the suspension of Orcs, I shifted my focus to my main project Get a Little Gold. Throughout the year, I spent 401 hours developing Get a Little Gold. This means that I dedicated another 736 hours to creating videos for this YouTube channel. It's crazy to think that I spent almost twice as much time running this YouTube channel as I did developing the game. Have you ever tried to track your own working hours, especially as a solo game developer? Share your insights in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want more videos just like this. For now though, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.